Okay, we are officially back for episode 40. I'm just going to choke a little bit here. 45, take two. That's right. We're big money now. We can do multiple takes on our podcast.
Yeah.
45, take two.
Are we going to leave take one up? We should leave take one up.
Should we?
Fun. I don't know.
Let everybody enjoy take one in all of its splendor.
It wasn't like anything crazy, so.
I don't know. If you guys should not watch take two until you watch take one. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Take one
Fair enough.
Take one is gone.
Oh, crap.
You guys missed it.
Here
If
we
you
were.
guys didn't see take one,
We were sharing secrets of the universe.
it's gone. It's
Yep.
gone. All right, so Matthew.
Wait till they see take three.
Where did that come
Who
from?
said that? Here comes the hand.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Matt, let's get into it one more time. We were talking about some of the training that came about with Brad and Robbie. Or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, with
Well, we did Steven and Robbie.
Yep.
They did the first day on the 26th, April 26th. They did the first day, and it was fantastic sales training. Robbie crushed it.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, if you missed it, there is no recording, so it pays to be there live.
That's not 100% accurate. There is a recording, but we only made it available to those people who attended for 7 days.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry.
And then it's going away.
Some people probably had a heart attack. Sorry about that. And then, and then day two. And on the first take, you were going to say something. So we had Stephen Larson and Brad Langen on day two, which was phenomenal training.
It was.
You were going to say something about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So we had Facebook recently updated their software, and it has caused all sorts of problems with the Zoom interface.
Dirty
and so
badgers.
we had our broadcast being recorded and hosted through Zoom and then sent over to Facebook Live, and it kept crashing over and over and over and over and over. And when I talked with Bob this morning, he goes, like what? How many times? Like 5 times it crashed? And I said, no, it was more like 30 times that it kept crashing and that we had to keep restarting.
So what I'm hearing is all Facebook's fault.
Nah, here's what you should be hearing. We have a good recorded copy of that is solid, start to end. And what we're going to do is we're going to make that available for everybody to watch. So
Good.
I'm not quite sure if we're going to send it out in a Facebook Live or if we're going to just send out an email with a link in it. We're still working out the details on that, but it will be coming soon. So just sit tight, be patient with us for a little bit longer. It will be coming your way very soon. So that's for all active ICMs
Woohoo.
in Renatus.
That'll be fun. That'll be great.
Oh yeah.
Good.
And it was a great recording. So
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Good training. Good
The
stuff.
the last live and exciting right now, or new and exciting.
Yeah. Nice T-shirt,
Right?
Jay.
Right?
Everybody should have been will get soon.
Very soon.
Your T-shirts, any awards that you may have got.
That's right.
Any swag that you may have received from the national conference. So that's super cool. I've been seeing them pop up on Facebook. That's been fun. Put them up there. You get an award. You get a T-shirt. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get anything from us? Put it
Put
up
it out
there.
there.
It's fun.
Tag
It's fun to
Renatus,
see.
man.
Yeah, it's fun to see.
Yeah, I love seeing everybody who's receiving their stuff. I love the excitement. And we went through a third-party distributor this year to try to add a little bit of professionalism, and efficiency. Proficiency, if you put it together.
Proficiency.
Proficiency.
Good word.
Thank you. And so we were trying to get it out just a little bit quicker to every single individual rather than sending to the hubs like we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was not the most popular thing we've ever done. So, yeah. I would love to see more pictures. Show us your unboxing videos of you guys getting your stuff. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
So, okay, man. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready?
Who have we got, Jay?
Where
did the hand come from?
What hand?
Where is that coming from?
All right, man. Why don't you introduce our featured guest today?
Oh man, what can't I say about this individual?
There's a lot of stuff I don't want you to say about this individual.
Good things. They're all good things.
Okay.
Did you take it to a bad place? I mean,
Well, I mean,
this guy runs my favorite charity. And yes, he's been a part of nationals several years now.
I think 3. No.
Yes.
You've done 3 different nationals, but over 4 years, right?
One of my favorite instructors.
Oh.
And one of my favorite people.
Nice.
Because he's the real deal.
Oh, I see what you did there.
We've got Mr. Troy Dunn in the building.
Nice.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I feel like you played that very safe. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, what did you think I was going to say, man?
I wanted you to step out and say favorite instructor just because I like to tick off Woody.
Oh,
here we go. You ready for
Can
this?
we do a take 2?
Give me a little close up here. Today, in a world where Renatus is filled with amazing instructors, we bring you the premier, the number 1, my favorite instructor in our lineup, Mr. Troy Dunn.
There we go.
Woo!
Loves to the Woodster. Woody will never watch this, right? He probably doesn't.
He probably won't watch this, but I so hope that somebody tags him.
Somebody's
and says,
gonna know.
Oh, look,
Yeah.
Jay, you
It's
got to
gonna
suck up to
happen
Jay
now.
now.
Woody, fast forward to 3 minutes.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Woody knows I love him.
Yeah.
He is my favorite second instructor.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh,
I love Woody.
funny. All right, man. So,
Yeah.
you okay?
Yeah.
That's
gotta
right.
get
He's saying my audio's a little low.
We call
so.
it the Joe Rogan because he always says
Yeah,
this
yeah.
to people. You
The
got to get it a
one
fist
fist.
away right there. Right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Fist.
You got to
The
get
Joe
it right there.
Rogan.
Make sure that people
So-
can hear you.
Yeah.
Here I am. It's my first time doing media stuff, so I'm very nervous.
Right. You're brand new to this.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Well, you just stick with me. I'll show you the ropes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. brother.
Matt's a pro.
Yeah.
Does this go anywhere? Or are we just going to do this? I'm good for just doing
Well,
this.
no.
I just-
I've got some.
I feel like I came with
jotted
no
some stuff
preparation.
down.
Oh, we
said-
like to no prep is the
Yeah?
best kind of prep. Yeah.
Well, I prepared to be unprepared, so here we go.
We're just
Wow,
Process
prepared
that.
to be unprepared.
We
I
just,
feel like we just planned to fail right there.
yeah.
Right? Isn't there a quote about
There's
that?
something about that. I don't know. It probably doesn't
but
matter.
I will say that one of the quotes I love to teach people when I do media training is that a spontaneous comment is just a prepared comment at an unprepared time. And that is a sales tip, by the way.
Take that one.
Have
home.
your
Write
sound
that
bites
down.
ready to go.
Yes.
Because you never know when you got to.
Yeah,
Very
I like
nice.
that.
That's why you go to attend all the training. You load up your gun with bullets, and you
There
never
you
know
go.
when you're going to need to fire
There you
them.
go.
Yeah.
Rather than bullets, I like to
like
call
that.
it tools in the toolbox. You
No,
know, 'cause
bullets
they-
are better. I like bullets.
Of course,
It's
you
way
do.
more fun.
Oh man! All right, so we've been talking quite a bit, and this is just kind of as a community.
Are you not going to address
As
the
a-
elephant in the room that I've grown out my hair and it's super gray?
That's not an elephant.
Nobody cares.
You look like a silver fox now.
I've aged 20 years, but I don't care anymore.
You didn't age 20 years.
You're,
Whatever.
dude.
I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm just saying for 28 years we were talking about this off the air,
yeah, you
kind of,
dyed your hair,
living,
right?
trying too hard to be somebody I'm not, and trying to,
right.
not trying to be a fake person, just trying to cater to the
Sure.
needs of others. And television industry is always like, Troy, nobody likes to see their favorite people age. And so I just kept coloring and coloring and coloring. And COVID and life broke me. And I'm like, you know what? I am gray-haired. Dude.
I
Yeah,
like
there's nothing wrong with it.
I
and
like-
Jennifer
I like
loves it, and that's all that
the
matters.
authentic
Thank you.
new Troy.
Yes.
I like this guy a whole lot.
Thank you.
In fact, Whitney and I got to spend some time with you and your lovely wife just a
Wonderful
few weeks
date
ago.
out. Date
That
night.
was amazing.
I will say, as great as the night was, the nachos were the worst I've ever had.
Those were pretty pathetic.
Right?
Those were pretty bad.
Yeah.
If you want to make the world's worst nachos, you start with stale chips and then you pour over the top cold cheese.
People don't
And
go
there you
for the
have it.
nachos. That's, the food at comedy clubs is not the best.
Wait, now so every time I've flown to New York City to tape a talk show, which has been hundreds of times over the years, my treat to myself is always to go out to a comedy club after the taping.
Yeah.
And I'm usually by myself, and since I don't drink and party, I just, go to comedy clubs.
Right.
And if you go to the Gotham Comedy Club and you order the Mountain O Onion Rings, you get this amazing stack of the greatest onion rings you'll ever have in your life.
Huh.
Yeah.
If I ever make it to New York, that I will do that.
Gotham Comedy Club.
Gotham Comedy
So I
Club.
tell you what, I went to a place in Denver where they had what they called the Mile High nachos,
I've heard about these.
and they were insane.
You are like the third person I've heard about these from.
Is there a joke
Yeah.
to that? Like
No
when you
joke.
say
No, there's
when
just
you
no
say
joke.
Mile
Sorry.
High nachos, it sounds like they sprinkle it with marijuana.
Well, it is
that's
in
a good point.
Denver.
It probably is now.
Denver.
The cheese is
No
probably
wonder you love it
THC
so
laced.
much. You're like, I've never laughed so much
Jay's
in
like,
my
these,
life.
these are the best nachos
Well, see
I've
what they
ever
do
had.
is they're nachos that make you hungrier, so you just keep going. 'cause
Man,
you're
I got
like,
the munchies.
You guys can see the music too, right?
These nachos are for medicinal purposes
Oh
only.
man. Okay, so I promise I did have purpose in where I was going with some of these questions before you derailed
Sorry,
me
sorry,
twice.
sorry. I'll shut up. Back on the track.
So I mean, as a community, we have been focused on our origin story, on how to tell that, and to have multiple editions and ongoing updates to our origin story. Right? So we talk about some of the conflicts that we faced, the walls that we hit, how we overcame what we learned. Right? And so we've been going through this process. And so I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your origin story. Because I know as a kid, you moved around a lot.
I did. I went to a different school every year from kindergarten to high school.
Gee
I
whiz.
tell people, so I've always used that as this like kind of fun, cool little calling card to tell people, you know, I made a career out of being the new kid in school. And, you know, in this, as you two know, as two of my close friends, you know, I've gone through some therapy this year and kind of gone through kind of a rebuild of myself. And I have learned that tiny little detail was trauma in my childhood, that apparently if you start every school year as the new kid in a new house, in a new neighborhood, and nobody sits by you on the bus, and you sit at the lunch table by yourself, and you know that probably next year you're going to be the new kid again, you do two things. One, you don't build relationships because you just know they're going to all leave you at the end of the year. And two, you work overtime to earn friends because you don't have much time. And so some of that led to issues that, you know, carried into adulthood that I'm working through. Not that that's where you were going with that.
Sure.
But
You
that
know what?
is my authentic story.
Right.
And so that's not something I would share with somebody in a sales process.
Right.
But when somebody shares their story of origin, it's not because the person across the room from you needs that in order to make a purchase decision. It's because we need to know people before we trust people, and we need to trust people before we do business with people. And that's generally the process. You may have people who don't need all of that, but they're few and far between. And by getting to know somebody before you make a business transaction with them, you have now built the most important thing in all of business, which is a relationship. And in a relationship, anything is possible. And that's why you tell your story of origin, because if you don't tell that story, the good, the bad, and the ugly, you're not as relatable. It causes people in their own mind, while you're talking and telling them your story of origin, they have another voice happening in there who's like, I don't know. Sounds a little too smooth, a little too polished, a little too perfect. This guy's not struggled. He doesn't know what it means to need $20. That guy's never been fired from a job in his life. He's never been, right? And so you end up losing them in the conversation, as opposed to them sitting and listening to you and thinking, all right, I feel this guy. You know, he's had struggles like I have. He's had victories and defeats. He's been up and he's been down. And I love that he's not afraid to share those things with me. And now I feel like I can set my guard down. This guy's being fully authentic. And I'm ready to hear what it is he's doing now, because I would like to be where he's at.
100%. I liked you more after I heard the Nationals. After you came out and you were talking about having struggles. It was like, all right, it's good to see that you're human too.
You know, one quote that Steve gave us over the last couple of days, and I don't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday, he actually gave a quote from, I think it was Brene Brown, and said, show the scar, don't talk about the wound.
Yeah.
And so you can talk about what you've learned and kind of, but don't go out there to say,
not publicly,
woe is me, and these people did me wrong.
I see what you're saying.
It's more, hey, this is what happened, and this is how I recovered.
Right.
And so, and being that kind of authentic will endear you to people. It'll really create a bond with them where, like you said, they'll trust you. They'll want to be around you because they know, hey, this guy is not hiding from me at all.
Sure. Well, and when people can see that you have a scar or two, because here's the deal. We all have them.
Yep.
And some people wear short sleeves and don't care that you can see their scars, and other people are living their whole life in long sleeves, hoping you never notice.
Yep.
And I would say I was that guy for a long time, because I feel like it doesn't benefit me for people to see my imperfections or whatever, when in fact it doesn't benefit you or me for you to not know that right? Because there isn't any perfect people. So the ones that are walking around trying to be perfect are the ones you should be the most concerned about.
Yeah.
You know?
I know exactly. Yeah. And I was.
Is this getting way too therapeutic right now?
Sure. But this all is along the lines of making yourself a better person.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about on the Founders webinar, or Founders Live. Sorry, Jay. He hates it when I call it that.
I do.
So
I got a thing.
Hate's
it's
a strong
Founders
word,
Live.
though.
Hate is a strong word.
He dislikes it.
We should roll that back too. He prefers.
Yeah, he bashes in my windows when I say that. So
okay, maybe hate was accurate.
But
stand corrected.
You gotta work on you. You've got to be somebody that people can connect with and will want to follow or listen to. If you're in a business sense, you're trying to find leads and follow up with leads and tell them how great real estate education is or the things you're doing or any of that kind of stuff. Because for me, my first thought is, why should I listen to this person? There's so many people out there saying things. Why should I listen to this person?
Well, I have been blessed to travel throughout the country and meet the community at the various regionals back before COVID, BC.
That's funny.
That's what BC means
before
now.
COVID.
Before COVID, right.
I haven't heard that. That's good.
No.
All right.
Yeah, what's after COVID? That would be, I don't mean
AC?
Yeah, that would be AV. After
ACBC.
Or after
vaccination.
BCAC.
Post-vaccination,
I don't
PV.
know. I got vaccinated, but now I regret
Isn't that like
what?
some kind of
Stop
disease
it.
or
I know where you're
That's
going.
HPV.
Stop. I'm going to save you right now.
I don't know.
Just stay focused over here. Pay no attention to the man who's about to shout out the various STDs
Aaron,
of the
kill
world.
the VMix.
So, gosh, I don't even know where I was going to go with that.
I don't either.
Whatever.
My job here is to derail everybody's conversation.
Yeah,
so
you're
that's
like a
that's
log
what
on
I
a
do
train
well.
track.
I know what I do well. I'm going to stick to it.
But I think that, I know what I'm saying. I had an opportunity to travel and meet a lot of members of the community. And without exception, and I won't sit here and name everybody I met because I met lots, but the ones that stick in my mind are the ones who were given an opportunity to get on stage, or I met them, around the dinner at the banquet, and tell me their story of origin.
Yeah.
And when I hear those, they go from being a brand or a salesperson or whatever to a human, and we all remember great stories.
Yes.
Right? We all remember great stories, and it doesn't matter if the story goes like this. That's actually a better story than just that.
Right.
This thing here, that story that does this, those are those fakey fakes that are on Instagram that go out and rent a Ferrari and pretend it's their car.
Right.
And they go, and by the way, I have a friend at, I should not say, I have a friend at a major news network who does a investigation news show that everybody would know the name of. And they've been working on a piece where they're doing investigations on these get-rich-quick Instagram, I say kids, but they're adults, but you know what I mean.
They're
Fake
kids.
influencers.
If you are in your
Yes.
20s, you are a
And
kid.
so the
Says me.
overwhelming majority of the people they've investigated, and I think they're going to come out with a list of names, but it's not coming from me, so it's not going to happen here, as much as I'd love to give you a scoop.
You look like you're in your 20s.
I am. And I color my hair gray, so
There you go. Now
But
I
the
get
majority of these influencers that are online with these little ads that say, get rich quick, and look at me, I make $5,000 a second, and check out my ride, my big, beautiful crib. Almost all of them that they investigated, those are Airbnb mansions that they rent for the weekend. They shoot their stuff.
Sure.
And in their mind, they rationalize it to say, well, I'm projecting that. And someday I will own a home like this and a car like that. But in the meantime, they rented them, but they're fooling and they're messing with those who are actually seeking a real opportunity and want to build something real. And where you can separate those people out is in their story of origin. I think that's when you learn about somebody. And as I traveled the country and went to those regionals and met with these many, many members of the Renatus community and listened to their backstories, not only are they amazing, but they're incredibly similar as far as their journey. Their circumstances may be different, the state they live in, what their trauma was, what their I call it lessons from the edge, right? That moment where they just thought it's all is lost, and then how they broke through that. And the fact that they're all very similar should be a huge, checkered flag for us to say, wait a minute, that is what we all share in common as a community. We all have been to heck and back. That's a Utah term.
Heck yeah.
It's just like 2 blocks over from hell. Not quite as hot, but
Not
equally
quite
as
as hot.
miserable. Yeah.
It was the studio last week.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you had no.
last week. Yeah, it was like 77 in here, which,
Okay.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, as heck.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah.
I can also see you're trying to derail me, so I'm going to pretend like you're not.
Yes!
So
He's
Boy,
immune!
Look at him.
But I'm
First person ever to not.
I'm vaccinated. But that really should not only inspire us to go out and share our stories of origin, because those in the community who are succeeding in the way that we would all like to succeed have a very similar story, but we should also seek to hear stories of origin from those people that we're looking to pull into the community, because that's really where the connection's going to happen. That their victories and their defeats, that's where you're going to find a connection to these people. And if you don't, now I would say not only should you look for opportunities to share your story of origin, but you should seek to hear and learn other people's stories of origin.
Yeah. And realizing that there's different origin points in your life, right? Depending on the situation. And so you could be talking about a time when you were a child. You could be talking about a time when you were a teenager, or when you were a newlywed, or a new parent, or
almost all life milestones you just named, we all have in common, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Super relatable.
Very. And so that's one thing that Steve Larson's been talking a lot about, is having these different origin stories and then being able to tell them in different increments of time. So you got the short, medium, and long version.
Yeah.
And
So it makes you
So
a
by
good
the way,
funnel.
can I just say how powerful that sentence is? If you got nothing out of this podcast other than I should have a small, medium, and large version of my story of origin, that in itself is gold. Because when I do media training for people and I tell them, look, you have to be able to deliver your message in the amount of time that media outlet. If you're going to go on the Today Show, you're going to have a 6.5 minute segment. So I need you to not just tell your story, but tell your story, explain why we're here today, and give some sort of call to action, right? You can learn more you can call me, right? But people who've only memorized their story of origin or their presentation, and they're like, sorry, it takes me 6 minutes to do it. Dude, you're screwed.
Right.
Because they're going to be like,
you're losing all of your
they're like, I'm saying, Jay, it's so great having you here on the Today Show today. We're fresh out of time, but listen, thanks, Jay. Up next. And you'll be like, wait, I didn't finish right? And if you're walking with somebody down the hall at the office and you know you've only got from here to the end of the hall in order to just kind of quickly tell them, oh man, I had the most, they're like, what did you do this weekend, Matt? Well, you attended, an event and you heard a presentation. So you want to now use that moment. It's your story of origin of the weekend, right? It's a weekend origin story. You need to get from here to the end of the hall and have that whole thing out, right? Which means halfway down the hall, you want to be done telling it so you can then say to him, we're doing it again next month. It'd be awesome if you'd come and be my guest.
Oh, yes.
Right? So really, I just wanted to just applaud your sharing that one piece of information. If you can figure out, and you should probably role play this with somebody, whether it's somebody in your own organization or your spouse, and say, hey, I want to do my story of origin in 60 seconds. Here it comes, right? And then say, all right, I want to do my story of origin in 5 minutes. And okay, I've got 25 minutes to tell it now because we're over lunch somewhere having it, right?
Right.
I mean, I haven't perfected that, but I do have my story of origin in various sizes depending on the environment I'm in.
Right.
My super short version is my mom was adopted. That caused me to start an organization that helps adopted people find their family. And I made over 500 TV appearances, after which I sold the company to Ancestry.com. Okay, that was 20 seconds?
Yeah.
That was my origin story in 20 seconds, but it covered 13 years.
Yeah.
Right? Give me more time, and I tell you more about how my mom found her birth family, and you've heard me share that story, and it's my truth. Give me even more time, and I'll take the time to tell you about the different TV shows. And give me even more time, and I'll tell you how I got on those TV shows. But if I only have 20 seconds, because that's how far it is to the end of the hall, I'm just going to give you the big picture.
Love it.
And I think that once you figure that tool out, that is the way you can build relationships with people on the fly, whether it's sitting with somebody on an airplane, riding with them on the way somewhere, a coworker who's just at the vending machine next to you grabbing a snack and like, hey man, Monday, right? What'd you do this weekend? You're like, bam, I got to do my 20-second version.
I love it.
So we were talking before, because we kind of came to the conclusion, me, Matt, and Bob were talking for a few minutes, and we said, trials in this life turn out to be blessings so often because of what we've learned going through the trial, right?
Yeah.
As you go through your origin stories, you go through that hero's journey, and you get across that last hurdle, that last wall, whatever it is. So often you can look back and see just how much of a blessing it's been to be where you've been.
Yeah, and he was saying that some of the hardest things in his life have turned out to be a blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm looking back at this, and I want to ask, with some of the trauma, as you described, that you went through in your childhood, what are the lessons that you've learned? What are the blessings you've received because of that?
So I feel like you're trying to make me cry, and so I'm not going to.
Not intentional.
But
that's his job. My job's to derail.
Right.
His job's to make our guest
to
cry.
gut me.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean I would say that as you know, as my dear friend, I'm healing from some fresh wounds right now, right? So I'm not going to go down that path because mine are still wounds. The ones you want to share with people are your scars.
Right.
Right. A wound is something that when you touch it, it still hurts, right? So there's certain things you could, obviously what they are and you're not going to do this to me. There's certain things you could ask me about that would probably cause me to sit here and cry with you, as we did before we taped today. I'm not in a place yet where I'm ready to use those as tools because I'm still learning the life experiences from that.
Right.
But I can certainly look back on other parts of my life because we probably have scars from every chapter, small or large, right? Even if you just came out of college and went, oh my gosh, college traumatized me, bro. The late nights and the this and that, right? Or your social life and you realized, you had somebody you loved, you thought you'd marry, you ended up not marrying them and, there's trauma there. Or you had employers who disrespected you and lowered your self-worth and it took you a while to get your confidence back up to step into the world. And right, we all have these scars. The thing that we like to share with people is the story of the scar. When you talk about your story of origin, it should include your scars. Because the person you're telling it to is sitting over there with scars and what they're not sure about. Should they share their scars with you, right? Should they admit that they have them?
Right.
And because we've all been in battle, life is just a battle that has victories and defeats, right? Dances of celebration and moments of mourning. To pretend like we don't have scars is to isolate yourself from the rest of the world, from authenticity. And that those familiar scars, you're going to find them on everybody. Yeah. I mean, if you're married and you say, marriage is hard work, anybody who's married goes, dang straight.
Right? No, it's been really easy for me. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Either that or they're a brand newlywed or they're about to get divorced.
I know. Whenever I hear somebody say, we've been married for 57 years and never had a single disagreement, I'm thinking to myself, A, Alzheimer's is setting in,
right?
Or B, they have never talked. These two
I was
going to
say, or B, one of you is getting walked on. That's what's happening.
Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, my grandparents, I'm like, bless your heart.
Right?
That's adorable that you don't think that. That just means your grandparents chose not to share that with you. And that takes us off another conversation we won't have. But being authentic with our children and our grandchildren, if you're in that category, about our scars from the past is also important because otherwise we have a society of people who think that they're not doing very well because everyone around them is doing so much better and has such little trouble in their life. And they're like, what is wrong with my marriage? I can tell by so-and-so based on what they're posting on Instagram and Facebook, they never have troubles, right? And that's why you have people running around who are deeply in debt, but don't ever want anybody to know it.
Right.
They're just one car payment away.
Oh boy.
And they live this fake, there's that old phrase, which can I use the word hate? Because I told you I don't use it very often.
You're welcome to.
Are you willing to bash in windows for it? You can use hate without having to bash in windows. It's okay. That's a little extreme.
My window bashing days are behind me. So.
I've never bashed a window, I don't think, actually. So.
One of the phrases that I hate, and I don't believe it has a good role in life at all, is fake it till you make it. And people say it, but they don't always mean it, or they don't really think through what it is. So I know there are people who say, wait a minute. And I'm not disrespecting anybody in the community who uses that phrase all the time. I'm just saying my interpretation, my life experience of fake it till you make it is that that's not real. And I usually can spot, and you and I talked about this, I can usually spot a fake it till you make it guy across the room. And I believe that phrase isn't authentic. I believe that the authentic version of that is fake it till you break it. I think those who are living a less than genuine life eventually tumble. And then when they tumble and they get back up and go, man, I got to be more real because I'm pretending like I'm wealthy when I'm not. And now I'm drowning in debt. And now I'm begging for help. and now I'm this or I'm that. And you're like,
Right.
wow, I should be more authentic.
Right.
And I think that if you had that chapter in your life, I did as a 20-something little entrepreneur who started making money when I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, we went out and we bought the fake Rolexes. We were in Los Angeles taping a talk show, actually asked for directions to get on a train to get us to Tijuana, Mexico, because a guy in LA told us that was the best fake Rolexes on earth. And they were really good because the second hand on a fake Rolex ticks, but a real Rolex, it's a smooth turn.
Oh.
Not that you need this. And in Tijuana, you can buy a fake Rolex where it just does the smooth turn.
Ah.
Yeah. And they even put lead in it to make it feel heavy because a real Rolex is heavy because I own one. But I own an authentic one now. But at the time, I had a fake one. I was that guy. I bought an old Mercedes and I paid somebody to change out all the symbols on it to look like a newer model. Totally bullcrap. And by carrying around that stuff, it made me look like I had something I didn't have, which means people's expectations of me were even higher. And I couldn't reach those expectations because I wasn't authentic. And so I say, if you're a fake it till you make it guy, abandon that philosophy or you're going to break it. Go back to your authentic place. And you'll find in your authentic place, you'll be surrounded by authentic people who will value you for who you truly are. And that's why people are going to pull into you in your community. That's why people want to do business with you.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but
No,
You're not rambling
This
at
is
all.
good.
This is
what I
rock
want.
solid.
That's where I would want people to try to land
So
if they can.
let me ask you this question. I'm here.
Yeah.
I want to be here.
Uh-huh.
How can I become the person that will go there? You know, it feels like
tell me what here and there represent to you.
So we talk about the law of attraction marketing and different things along those lines, where we want to be somebody who other successful people are attracted to.
Sponsored by Fizz.
Not sponsored by Fizz, just, heartily endorsed.
Personally endorsed. And,
So I'm just wondering, because I see where you're coming from. I just want to know, how can I become that person? Because so much of it seems like, okay, well, if the person who's where I want to be, is more affluent, or is how do I get from point A to point B? How do I make that transition with being authentic the entire time?
Yeah. So let me spin that on you for a second.
Okay.
Let's say that A to B you're talking about is A is you're sitting at the bottom of a cliff you want to climb, and B is you want to stand on top of the cliff.
Right.
Okay. And you're looking up at the top of the cliff and you see people who you met and you have respect for, and you're like, boom, that's where I want to be, with them. This is your pivotal moment of decision. Do you look around and tell everybody, dude, I got this. I climb cliffs in my sleep. I'm like Spider-Man, right? And so they all stand around there and go, cool. Or do you authentically say to the people on the top of the cliff, I would love to be up there with you. I'm not exactly sure how to get there, and I don't even have a rope long enough to reach there. But if you would drop it down to me, I would love to come and join you and add some value. And when I get there, I promise to work hard with you. Now you have people who are like, oh, he needs help.
Yeah.
These are called mentors. Mentors love to mentor people who want to be mentored, who are looking to grow. What mentors have no interest in and will spend no time on are people who act like they know it all, or they've been there, done that, right? And you can almost tell those people when you're having a conversation with somebody. If you said to me, Troy, I want to be on Good Morning America, right? I don't have a lot of expertise about anything, as you know. Media is just one of those I happen to understand a little bit. So I would start to explain to you, and I have people ask me this all the time. Tell me how I could, I really want to get my business on such and such. I want to be on CNN. I want to be one of the spokespeople they call when there's a crisis in finance. I want to be their go-to finance guy, whatever. I can tell you how to do that. But if while I'm explaining it to you, you're like, yeah, I know. This one time I was on the local show in Salt Lake City, and yeah, I totally got that. I'm like, okay. Well, you might want to also consider, I know, right? And you help finish my sentence. I'm like, okay. Time out. It sounds like you are saying you already understand all this. So maybe we're all both wasting our time, right? So if you're at point A, you want to get up to point B. I think the greatest thing you can do is be authentic that you need help getting there, because that is ultimately what gives the community an opportunity to go to do what they do best. Renatus and any other community, what we do best as a community is reach out, get a hold of people who want to be where we are and bring them along with us.
Yeah.
Right? And what makes this community so amazing is that what we all then do organically when we get to the top of the cliff is not just to go running off into the sunset. It's to turn around and look down and go, who can I lift and pull up here? My rope is so much longer now. I have so much rope now. I don't even need all this rope. And I see somebody who I love and respect down there, one of my coworkers, one of my friends, one of my neighbors, somebody from church, my brother-in-law. If he's willing to accept my help, I want to pull him up on the cliff, and I can.
Yeah.
Right. That's the beauty of the Renatus community. We've built these systems of ropes, and if you'll just say you want help and follow direction, we'll pull you to the top, and then you can help us pull more. That's how you get from A to B.
Dude, I love it.
Beautiful.
I love that. And I love talking about being authentic about it every step of the way. I love when you drop all pretense and you get real with people, how much people are willing to get real with you and help you.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked a little bit about how people that are unauthentic are just not as much fun to be around. You can spot somebody who's faking it. You just know that they're not being real with you.
Yeah.
And I love how you've basically given a roadmap for, hey, look at people that are where you want to go, find people that are willing to mentor you until you get there, and then turn back and find other people you can mentor
be
along the way.
teachable and workable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's simple, really, right? I mean, isn't that the key to success that we teach people all the time in the community is duplication.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no secret to this. You look at those who have embraced the real estate education and are doing deal after deal after deal, or flip after flip, or rental or after rental, or they're outselling the profits course, and whatever it is, you see the people who are doing it, and if they're authentic, if they're an authentic person, and I'm thinking of people in the organization right now, I'm just not going to say their names out loud, but I know who your pack leaders are and those rock stars. If you met those people, you would think to yourself, I mean, they're good people, but I mean, I don't feel like they're like super gifted, talented people that are doing something I'm not capable of, right? Because they're so authentic,
Right.
And they have a story of origin.
Right.
But there are some organizations who have people who are total posers. They're in a constant state of trying to look like they're the smartest guy in the room.
Right.
And the problem with being the smartest guy in the room is none of the dumb people want to hang out with you. And yet, really, your business will be built on the dumb people. And I don't mean dumb, I mean ignorant. And I mean ignorant in the kindest sense of the word, which means lacking information.
Right.
That's all that word is supposed to mean. It's not supposed to be a slang insult.
Right. It's not less than in any way.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant to the process of fixing cars. I haven't got tools to me are just objects that my wife uses around the house. So I'm ignorant to some of those things. I've memorized the phrase lefty loosey, righty tighty. That's all I got for fixing stuff. So sometimes my wife will be like, yeah, before we fix this, you should probably turn off the electricity. I'm like, oh.
Right.
That's a great idea,
right.
honey.
Don't put this right into the
love
plug
right there.
Right?
Yeah,
because she could have watched me fry.
She could have.
So yes, I know I probably overstated it, but I guess it's just the chapter of my life I'm in.
Right.
I just think that when you talk about like attracts like, the law of attraction, I think authenticity attracts authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think fakes attract fakes.
So how I'm going to ask this in a multi-tiered question, but it's the same question. How old do you have to be? How successful do you have to be? How much money do you have to have made before you no longer need a mentor, no longer need other people to help you move forward?
Gosh, that is a great question. And I have an honest answer. It's not about age. It's nothing to do with age, nothing to do with race or gender or being born from a wealthy family or a poor family or living in one country or another. Has nothing to do with any of that. This is my perspective on this. There is a list of life lessons you must check off to become successful. Whatever successful means to you, whether that means in business or marriage or parenting, right? Any topic, health, fitness, there's just a list. And I don't have that entire list. I don't know what that is for every category. But let's just say that, let's just name off a few of these. Let's say that on that list, one of the boxes you have to check is learning to live beneath your means, right? That's just a life lesson. Let's say that one of them is work ethic. Let's say that one of them is protecting your credit score. I don't know. Let's say that one of them is giving back. Let's say that one of them is forgiveness, learning to be forgiving, right? Because if you don't get good at forgiving people, you're going to be screwed when it's your turn to be forgiven.
Right.
So let's just say there's this long list. If there's a secret in life, this is it, I think. One that took me a while to figure out. All of us have to check all of those boxes. The only difference between each of us is how many of those boxes can we check based on learning from somebody who had to learn it the hard way, right? You say to me, dude, just so you know, when you turn that corner, there's a big pothole in the road, so you want to be ready to go to the right lane. Mm-hmm. Okay. That takes me nothing to learn that. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be ready to swerve right when I come around the curve.
Yep.
You, on the other hand, had to learn it the hard way.
Life experience.
And so you blew out a tire and bent a rim and ended up stuck on the side of the road for 7 hours waiting for a replacement to be brought in. It took me 3 seconds to get around that because you passed that on to me, and I was humble enough to receive that versus going, dude, what does this guy think I am? You think I'm stupid? You think my car, dude, I'm driving a truck. You think I can go over the top of a pothole? There's no pothole, right? Boom.
Boy, I've run into those people in life.
So there are some people who will only learn things the hard way. They refuse to have the humility to receive direction from other people, and they learn everything the hard way.
Actually, it used to be me. So
yeah. Same.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just different in different categories. You might be somebody who really receives advice well when it comes to money, but you don't take relationship advice well. You just think you got it all handled, or you don't take parental advice or health and fitness or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
We get stuck in this loop where we have to keep learning that. We have to keep trying to check that one box because life's not going to let you go to the next one until you check that one.
Yep.
And you're like, why is this not happening for me? I've been in this 7 years. The guy who just started 4 months ago is blowing past me. Yeah, because he's speed checking his boxes.
Yeah.
He's surrounded himself with mentors and trainers, and he's drinking it in, and he's applying it to his life. You're still sitting back there on the third box going, I got this. I don't need any outside help. Yeah. And so for me, the path to success is only how fast are you willing to learn from other people and save yourself the time of learning life's lessons. And there are people, great people, beautiful people, who will spend their whole life on one lesson. They never figure out one thing, and they struggle and struggle and struggle. And they keep trying to go try different things, but because they still haven't checked that one box on that one life lesson, they just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over. They've chased 15 business opportunities. They've started and failed at 25 different ideas. Mm-hmm. It's because there's a box they're not checking.
Yeah.
So if you want to accelerate your success, whether you're old or young, white or black, male or female, American or European or Korean, whatever it is, just focus on figuring out what that list is and check those boxes by reaching out to people around you and learning what they've experienced. It took me 28 years to perfect the process of getting on media, right? I can teach it to somebody in a few minutes. They'll never sit through decades of, I remember going on a talk show we spent a ton of time getting ready for, and then it aired, and then we got nothing. And it's because I forgot a couple of details about how they should put our phone number on screen and how long it should be. A simple detail, which is when you're on TV, you want them to put your phone number up as they bounce out to commercial, versus when they come back and like, hey, we're joined by Jay Stark from Renatus. By the way, if any of you want to reach out to Jay and his organization, you can reach him at this number. Now, Jay, you promised us before the break to give us 5 tips on how to blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what I'm not doing if I'm a viewer? I'm not going to a phone and calling your phone number because I want to hear those 5 tips.
Right.
But if we end it on our way to commercial and say, well, listen, Jay, it's great having you here today. Thank you so much. For those of you who'd like to reach out to Jay and his organization, you can reach him at this website or this thing. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Great. It's a commercial break. Guess what I'm doing? I'm pulling out my phone and I'm going to your website right now, right? That simple detail took me 15 years to figure that out. I kept saying, why? How come sometimes people call us by the thousands and sometimes we don't hear from anybody? So there, you got it in 2 minutes. Boom.
Wow.
Checked.
That's awesome.
Right? So if we each do that for each other, which is ultimately what the Renatus the Renatus community does.
Yep.
You bring in all these instructors and everybody shares their life experiences. If you go through all of the courses in the Renatus program, if you go through all the Prophets courses, you are listening to people who took, combined total hundreds of years to learn these lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do it in a matter of a few hours.
Oh, I love it.
That's your turbo path to the front of the line.
I love it.
Well, you really hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly what it is.
It's way better than hitting your head on a nail. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to take your word for it. Lesson I will learn from you, my friend.
Nice pothole
Yes.
I'm going to avoid.
Yes.
You know, it's funny. It's funny. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
She's strong-willed, talented, beautiful, takes after her mother in every way. And she does not want help.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to do it her own way.
I think that's a teenager thing, though.
It is.
Right?
I'm learning.
We were probably like
She's-
that a little bit when we were all teenagers.
I was.
Oh, I was.
Especially that like
100%.
16 to 18
Yeah.
where they've convinced now they're unofficially adults anyway and they're done needing advice.
So
But that's okay.
I talk to her and I say, hey, you need to avoid this pothole. And she goes, Dad, sometimes I feel like you need to just let me learn this on my own. And I'm like, oh, okay.
She's right, but it's hard to do.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So especially when it's like major life altering decisions,
Right.
I'm like, this is not something I want to leave up to chance that you
Sure.
learn the right thing.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
it's tough.
It is. I was that person. I was that kid.
I would be chiming in with so much right now, but I have a 16-year-old daughter that is a beautiful human being that also wants to learn everything the hard way. And at the risk of her ever hearing this episode, I never want her to be like, I can't believe you shared that thing.
Right.
So with great restraint, I am withholding. But I think that what we have a connection on in this moment is that is a common thread.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Just as your daughter and my daughter and everyone else's teenage daughter could probably all get in a room together and talk about their overbearing, over-controlling parents, right? From their perspective.
Right.
So it's okay if you live long enough, you start to hear those kids grow into adults who eventually turn back to you and go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I cannot wait for that day. That
It happens.
That I told you so kind of day. Not that I would ever say that to my kids,
Yeah.
but I cannot wait for that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like waiting for them to have their own children. Sometimes that's how long you have to wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like turning 25, they will magically be like, oh my gosh.
Right?
Right?
Oh, poof. Now
I can't
get
believe,
it.
well, they will on some things. They'll be like, I can't believe how expensive groceries are. I'm like, yes, thank you, Captain Tapeworm, who ate us out of house and home. Yes, how expensive food is. Correct.
Oh,
Welcome
man.
to our world.
Yeah.
But some things they just won't experience until they've had kids and they move into the other seat and go, okay, now I'm the mom, I'm the dad. And then they're
Well,
like, oh my gosh, this is hard.
I can tell you from my own experience. So first of all, my dad gave me that lesson at probably 16 or 17 that you can learn from your own mistakes or you can learn from the mistakes of others. And it's a lot easier to learn from the mistakes of others.
Faster and cheaper.
And he repeated that lesson often. And it took for me is learning the hard way enough times that it's like, ooh, I'm not going to continue to do this with everything.
Right. This is a really crappy system.
Yeah, this sucks. This is not a way to do things. And so
what is going
then
on?
I really started to value the experience of others that have gone before me. So
Yeah. No, listen, have you ever found yourself in a situation, whether it's an airplane or any event, where you're sitting near somebody who's much, much, much older than you? Yeah. Which right now for me would be somebody that'd have to be like 130. But
Joe Biden.
Oh, no. We're not going there.
You're not pulling me in. Not pulling me in. I'm vaccinated.
Look,
I no longer get derailed.
I think regardless of whether you like him or you hate him, you can agree that he's 130 years old. So anyways.
Still not taking the bait.
Good. Nicely done.
I love sitting down with an elderly person and picking their brain and asking them questions, especially if I've been trapped on an airplane. I'm like, all right, I got 2.5 hours with this guy.
Yeah.
So it's either talk until we land or till he falls asleep, which could be 12 minutes later. But I love that. I love insight from other people. And but by the way, just as much as I love to sit down with my teenage daughter when there's things happening in our society that I don't understand, I'm like, why do your friends blah, 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 or a term I don't know. What does this mean?
Oh, man.
What do you mean when you tell somebody they're sus? What is sus? And they're like, it's suspect. It's, whatever. So I think that we should always be in both chairs.
Yeah.
We're always in a position where we're looking to learn from others around us, and we're always in a position where we're willing to share with those who are looking to learn. I think that's kind of the Renatus community, right? Is that we never pretend to be one or the other. We're always, listen, I think I'm a smart guy when it comes to media, so I feel like in that conversation I can instruct people. But man, what's the funnels guy's name? What's his name?
Steve Larson.
Bro, that guy is a guru of gurus. Like I take notes as rapidly as I can write. I'm pausing that thing. I mean, that guy's a genius. So I feel like I'm in both chairs at the same time, and I think that's true for everybody.
Yeah.
Dino Watt had a great definition for humility that I'd never heard before. He said, humility is recognizing that I am expert at something that you are not, and recognizing that you are expert at something that I am not.
Love that.
Understanding that, hey, I can be great at something, I can share with people, and I can also be taught by other people who are great at something different.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal.
That's great.
Phenomenal.
I love that.
So we are out of time, unfortunately, but having you is always a pleasure.
Would you like to give your phone number?
Yeah, we're playing the closing song here, so
on your way out, if you could please join me at. No, I don't have anything to play.
I'll never forget when you first got
thelocator.org. There it is.
There you go. And if you want to donate to that, you go to renatus.me/donate. Take you straight to the donation page.
There you go. What were you going to say?
Oh, the when you started using your phone number as your name.
Oh yeah. When they said we can't put your phone number on TV, I'm like, fine, we're going to add a DBA. Our company's now called 1-800-BIG-HUGS. That was That was the name we sold to Ancestry.
Yes.
Well, thanks for having me. I love your podcast. I'm
you.
happy to join you every 54 episodes or whatever.
45.
Well, it's actually only been 42 since last
I was
came
here.
on.
That's right.
And
We're not going to wait 42 episodes to have you on again, though.
well, it was great hanging out with you.
Thanks
God
so
bless
much for
to
your
the whole
time.
Renatus community. I love all of you.
All right. Until next week, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Want to give a shout out to Mr. Aaron Peterson, who's our producer.
Whoop, whoop.
Renatus rocks.